to What's Up Wednesdays at the Well. Yes, we are back. We are here again, and we just would like to welcome you to the second part of our series. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Last week, we had Miss Tanya Brown. We were super excited about having her here. She is from New Life Church. She established this group for young women called Establish Her. And in this part of our segment, we went over bonnets, pajamas, and house shoes. We came from 1 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, the 9th through the 10th verse. And it reads, and I want women to get in there with the men in humility before God, not primping before a mirror or chasing the latest fashion, but doing something beautiful for God and becoming beautiful in doing it. So basically we just covered not about the outside of you, but what's on the inside of you. What is your motive for how you dress? And making that first impression is something that is so important, because you never know what opportunity you're going to run into just by who you may meet on the streets, at the mall, in Walmart. We do not want to miss out on that. So again, we thank Miss Tanya Brown from New Life Church for coming in and sharing with us. We had such a good impact that we will have her back at a later date. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. But hey, what's up? This is a new week with a second part to our topic, and today we will be covering sagging versus swagging. Wow, that's deep. Before we get into that, we do have an announcement that we will be having our back to school giveaway this Saturday, August the 7th, at the parking lot of Stonewell from 11 to 3 p.m. So please bring your children out. We will have jumpers, food, many book supplies. And if you haven't already, you can register so that you can avoid standing in lines. But we do want you to come. The event is free. So this Saturday coming up from 11 to 3. Again, our topic: you only get one opportunity to make a first impression. This week, for the young gentlemen, sagging versus swagging. What is sagging? Sagging is a manner of wearing trousers or jeans that sag so that the top of the trousers or jeans is significantly below the waist, sometimes revealing much of the wearer's underpants. I got this from Wikipedia, y'all. Sagging is predominantly a male fashion. In relationship to women's wearing these, they may be referred to as low-rising jeans to reveal what we call the G-string, and it is not generally described as sagging, but it's similar in fashion. A person wearing sagging trousers is sometimes called a sagger, and in some countries this practice is known as low riding. The style was supposedly popularized by skaters and the hip-hop musicians back in the 1990s, and it later became a symbol of freedom and cultural awareness among some young people, or a symbol of their rejection of the values of mainstream society. It is often claimed that the style originated from the United States prison system, where belts are sometimes prohibited and there can be a lack of appropriately sized clothing. Many believe that sagging pants began in the prison system, where these belts were not allowed to be worn, but could be used as possibly weapons or as a method to suicide. Hip-hop artists implemented this, and it rapidly became popular among our young people. Requiring students to wear uniforms or conform to dress code is a practice that some schools have used for many years to maintain order. Recent episodes of violence in schools, however, have led to an increasing interest in bringing uniforms and more stringent dress codes back into public schools as well. This form of fashion statement is contrary to what most African American men dressed up in the late 80s. In some places, even local politicians have passed prohibiting young men from sagging in public places. Several cities have even banned sagging and issued fines to persons who show their undergarments, in instances, even their skin. This is one of the things that we really want to just take a closer look at, because sometimes, this could be more than just a fashion statement. Sometimes clothes are not as affordable, so we just really don't know what a person's background is. But one of the things that we want to look at is that things change with the times. We know that even back in the 70s that we wore afros and dashikis, and they were in style, and many black communities looked up upon them with ridicule and contempt, while other people saw this as liberation. And even with the changing times, we have to understand that people have a right to make a statement. Even during the time when Barack Obama was running for president, he made a statement to TMZ and said that the laws banning the practice of wearing low-slung pants that expose one's underwear was really a waste of time. Having said that, he still agreed that brothers should pull their pants up. You are walking by your mother, your grandmother, your underwear is showing. What's wrong with that? Come on. Some people might not want to see your underwear. And Barack Obama said, I am one of them. But today, I am super excited because we have a guest here, and I know that he put a book out several years ago, but he's been recently promoting it, and I'm a little sad because now he's giving this book out in red envelopes. I didn't get my red envelope, but we'll talk about that later. But we have here none other than my homeboy, Mr. Keenan Walker, and we just gonna read just a little bit about him, and then we're gonna let Keenan take it from there and tell even more about himself. Mr. Walker is a native of Thomaston and is a noted educator, public speaker, community activist, civic leader, consultant, and author of the soon-to-be released Tales from the Hood, What Teaching Really Looks Like. For over 18 years and beyond, he has been a trailblazer for pre-college age students. His passion to educate the youth has brought awareness to community in regards to social, academic, and economic concerns of young adults. This educator and entrepreneur provides a candid, real, and relevant message and is one of the America's newest intellectuals on issues including team building, self-development, cultural awareness, and games. I present to you none other than Mr. Keenan Walker. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm about to remove my mask. I already know that we
I got my shirt too. He know that.
Oh, look at that.
I also have a sweatshirt, but I ain't want to just do too much.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I'm saying? We got to support the whole
support
thing.
right there, dog.
That's right.
And I wore this particular mask right here because of the topic. And I know you asked me earlier, you and your producer asked me about the mask, and she asked me to take it down when I was doing mic check. Hey, y'all should have heard me. Your voice sounds so good on mic check. But anyway, y'all see I got Kobe and I got Nipsey right here.
Right.
And when you start thinking about the topic that we're talking about, I definitely want you to introduce that first, because it's going to help springboard me into what I
Okay.
know we don't have a whole lot of time for. But I got this whole concept, like when you think about Nipsey, you think about the cats who are claiming Crip or whatnot, who might have spent a lot of time, around people who were sagging.
Right.
But we know in real time, when you start thinking about come as you are, when the church say come as you are, I was
Right.
thinking about this on the way down here when I read that verse. I went back and
Right.
read that verse that you're utilizing today. And I said, think about this, Jen, when they say come as you are. Some people are just at the come stage.
Right.
See, as you are, we can't even start addressing as you are because we got to get them to come.
That's correct.
You get what I'm talking about? So, a lot of times we have people who are sitting back in these glass houses who are talking about young brothers who are sagging, and I'm sitting there saying, if we could just get the young Negro in the church, since you say you have the way they should dress.
Right.
If I don't see anyone dressed like you.
Correct.
Because when I see this attire right here, at least the neighborhood where I teach, when most people see this, they
Right.
ask the question before they get to know me, like, Mr. Walker, somebody died? Because you know what they think this outfit is.
Right.
This is what you wear to a funeral.
Did what you went to a
You understand
funeral
what
or
I'm
to
talking
church.
about? Or to church, exactly
Correct.
right. And that's why we're saying come as you are, but you got to give me a reason to want to come.
Right.
Maybe some Sundays we need to dress it down and let them see you can still have swag
Right.
without necessarily having to sag.
Well, one thing I do like about here at Stonewell, even our pastor gonna come in his latest kicks. I mean, he got the Nikes on, he got the latest Jordans on. He is approachable, and I think that's one of the biggest things that has really been an open door for Stonewell. And he's approachable, so even the guys, like, he may be hanging out on 3rd Street, he may be downtown, in the park, all of our main spots here in Thomaston. And I know you can call out a few up in Atlanta, but they know him, what's up, Pastor Duma, what's up, And like he said, he don't want you to stop what you're doing because, like he said, he just here as a messenger.
Mm-hmm.
He can't put you into heaven, he
right.
can just show you the way.
Right.
And so the scripture that he's speaking of is that in 1 Samuel, right now, God has sent Samuel on this mission to anoint the next king. And when Samuel comes into Jesse's house, he looks at all of David's brothers because they have that build, they have that statue of what you would expect for a king to look like. I'm sure, like, for some of our young people, if you said draw a picture of a king, they're going to put a crown on his head, they may put a robe on his back, they may put him on a throne, but that was not what God was looking for. And so when we look at the scripture, 1 Samuel 16, specifically at the 7th verse, from the New International Version, it says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward, but the Lord looks at the heart." And if we go to another, more simpler version, where our kids can just really grab hold of this, in the Message Bible, it said, "But God told Samuel, looks aren't everything. Don't be impressed with his looks and stature. I've already eliminated him," meaning those who you expect to stereotypically look like the king. "God judges persons differently than humans do. Men and women look at the face, but God looks at the heart."
That's scripture. I mean, when you
Oh.
think about that, that is like spot on. I don't know if you chose the scripture or who chose that scripture. Did you choose that
I
scripture?
chose it, yeah.
And I just think that scripture is spot on. So I brought this image right here. This is, I don't know if you summer partner Bob Mackey on Shark Tank. He has this thing that he came out with, the Yono clip. But before Bob even got there, this was a poster that he gave me for my classroom. And it says, "A decline in your pants position is a decline in how people perceive you. Pants up, raise up." So I oftentimes have a different perspective. I mean, everything the messaging is saying is correct. I love the first part of declining your parents' position is a decline in how people perceive you. But
Right.
even God says, don't get so caught up on the outside. Because we could easily ride through downtown, like you said, not downtown, downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah, we can easily ride through downtown. And I know there's some houses that I remember going to visit people in that on the outside, it was just a typical shotgun house.
Right.
Did not look like it even barely hold the
We
doggone.
lived up in the alley.
We lived in the alley. That's what I'm talking
Okay.
about. But then when you get on the inside, the house was so pristine and so clean and so immaculate, and the food smelled so inviting.
Right.
You get what I'm talking about? So imagine if this is all I see, because when you were talking about drawing a king, what if we're in school? Because I don't know if y'all started school in Thompson yet.
We have.
Y'all have? So like with us, we're starting tomorrow. And I love your producer. We're starting tomorrow. Can you imagine? And the reason I love it, because like she's giving me that energy right here.
Right.
You know, like, can you imagine like the way school is set up right now and the way society is set up, everything is standardized.
Correct.
So if you say draw me a king, imagine if I drew the most impeccable image of LeBron James. Because that is King James to me.
Right.
But you were talking about draw King James, translator of the Bible.
Correct.
And one kid fails because he drew what he thought was a king.
Correct.
Another kid gets an A because he gave what you wanted somebody to give as a king.
Perception.
Perception. See, so, hey man, perception can be a mother sometimes when we start thinking about what our babies are going through. So when I think about what that verse says to us, as a man thinking, I know you've heard of this right here, and anytime you ever see me speak, I'm going to always have you notice I got more books over there.
You're a book man.
Oh man, I don't ever.
And a reader.
Yes, like I tell people all the time, like if you hear me talking in the hood, like if I'm on the hill or in the park or somewhere, people think I'm just talking off the dome. But for anybody who's ever seen me, they know I never travel without a bag of books. So as a man thinking, see, if I think that this is what is kingly and what is godly, if this is the image that's always in front of me,
Right.
then I'm thinking about getting the next pair of sagging pants and a nice gold belt or whatever this guy's wearing in this
Right.
image right here, because there's some king, stuff. That's what they say in the hood. That's king-ish,
Right.
right? But that's not the king that they were referring to.
Not.
And then on the other hand, like you just alluded to, sometimes we can have what somebody says is king, but that's not the king that God is referring to.
That's right.
Because I know that all of us have grandparents and, pawpaws and big daddies and, they didn't look like what a king was, but they were the king in our world.
Correct.
So as a man thinking, so is he. So when I think about that, I'm thinking about this other book. I won't go into all of them, but I just want to use the titles.
Take your time.
Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. So if we're talking about building good habits and breaking bad ones, the first thing I'm going to say to anybody, if you're working with young people, because I'm in the hood every day working with young people,
Right.
if you want to actually get them to pull their pants up, the first thing I would say do is don't even talk about the pants being down.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
can you imagine if a young man walking here right now and he's sagging, I just say, hey, feeling your swag, pimp. See, when he saw the suit, he had already stereotyped me.
Yeah,
I didn't
exactly.
stereotype him. I just said, I'm feeling your swag, pimp.
Right.
And he said, hold on, bro. So you ain't gonna say nothing about me sagging? No, I'm talking about you swagging.
That's right.
And see, once we get that conversation going, Jen, I think, I toss it back to you. Once we get that conversation going, then we can actually start talking about the second part of this right here, which is how things fell apart, because young men weren't always sagging. I was looking at a picture of C.T. Vivian when he was a little boy, Reverend C.T. Vivian, man, God rest in peace to C.T. Vivian.
Right.
And they showed him, his brother had on a suit, he had to be about 5 years old. Jen, and it looked like he had gone up to what the place sometime, Daniel Min.
Daniel Min
Oh, looked
shop.
like C.T. straight out of Daniel Min at 5 years old. But I'm saying, so during that era, you remember, even when people marched and protested and so on and so forth, everybody wore suits.
Dr. King had on
Yeah.
his trench coat.
But if that's what I see,
Right.
then that's what I'm going to be. Like they say, conceive it, believe it, achieve it.
Right.
But then, if I don't see that, and you start talking about the hip-hop generation,
Right.
see, what happened to Big Daddy and, what happened to Big Mama? See, now all of a sudden, you got a 16-year-old telling another 16-year-old, like, player, you ain't got to listen to this.
Well, you got 16-year-olds that are parents too.
There we go. So now here's a 16-year-old parent who never had a big mama, never had a parent that told him that, hey, bro, check this out, man, that ain't the way to wear your pants. If this was the natural attire that I was accustomed to, because Big Daddy bought me my first suit when I was 5 years old, and I grow up feeling like it's okay to wear a suit. But I don't think we should hold these young men who are sagging all the way accountable, because we dropped the ball somewhere. And Carter G. Woodson talks about that in The Miseducation of the Negro, when he talks about how we missed the mark.
Right.
So we need to go back. This just
And
me.
I talked about this. If you know, we go back to our vacation Bible school where we talked about parents' responsibility about honoring and obey your parents. How can you honor and obey parents that have not set the tone and the respect to be received? You know, so it starts with us. You know, if you're gonna have obedient children, at some point, parents got to be obedient to God first.
Oh, look out now.
You understand?
See, you had a lot of folks who were running with you right there until you said parents got to be obedient.
Well,
See, parents want children to be obedient, but we as parents have to be obedient to God before we can actually start giving that instruction to our children.
What do you think God's purpose was? And you are an educator. When we got shut down in 2020, and you know the flack and the stuff that you all get from parents throughout the school year, and you have been in the household 365 days, 24/7 with your children, you get to know them for who they are.
Yes.
The information that they bring you back from the school, what the teacher said, what the principal said, what the coach said, it should register in your mind that they really playing with your mind.
That's right.
And you can't put all the blame on the teachers. You can't put all the blame on the coaches. They got to start accepting the responsibility. So to me, this shutdown was much needed, because we had to get back in tune with the family in order to rebuild ourselves for when they do go back to school. Oh no, I didn't have this when you were at home learning virtually. You're not finna bring me that back from school with these teachers.
Well, let me do this.
Do it.
The question behind the question.
Well,
It's almost like you are playing point guard right now. Like you just set me up for
Oh,
all the perfect books that I brought with me. So yeah, here's the question behind the question. See, you notice it's not the question, it's the
Right.
question behind the question.
QBQ.
What to really ask yourself. Practicing personal accountability. It is talked about in business, but and in life. So when you talked about being at home and the parents get a chance to see it, you said, and they don't do it at your house, so don't. No, a lot of them are doing it at their house.
True.
So I saw a boy get out of school out of his mom's car in front of the school one morning, and when I saw him get out, his pants looked just like this at 7:30 in the morning, getting out the car with his mama. And when I walked past him in the hallway, you know, because I'm never going to disrespect a young brother. I'm always going to ease up and just be, you know, like breast to breast and whisper in his ear. I just say, you ain't got to ever worry about me saying that about you sagging in the school again, brother. Because if your mama is okay with that right there, how dare I say something to you?
Correct.
But I also told him this, though. I said, but I do want to make sure you understand that I'm trying to teach you what really matters.
Right.
I don't know about you. I said, but we're from the country. And my mama told us growing up that you got to work twice as hard to be considered half as good.
Half as good.
So, Negro, if your pants are halfway down your butt and you're not even working the minimum amount, I'm working twice as hard to be considered half as good as my counterparts on the other side of that railroad track out there with Johnson Heights and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Then what are they going to think about you when they not only see you not working twice as hard, but you have already been perceived a certain way because of the way that your pants are hanging off your butt?
That's correct.
So when I think about teaching what really matters, I think we gotta actually sit down and deconstruct, so to speak. And I'm okay. I think everybody deserves a little flavor, man. Because depending on what I am, if we have like our line anniversary or something like that, I might see some cats out there sagging. I might just say, all right, I see you.
Well, you know, really and truly, I know they point out to the hip hop, to the prison system, but I remember really when the sagging first came out, because you know the guys used to wear those boxers, and they had like the name of whoever
on the little waistline
on
thing. Yeah.
And we thought that was cute, but they weren't showing their actual rear. They fell just right below the hip, enough so you can see that it was Tommy Hilfiger, polo, and I mean it was looking good.
Hey, just enough, G.
Just enough. Yeah.
Now the brother want to show you Tommy and what they slept last night and what they sat in when they. I mean, and here's the thing. I think that you make a lot of sense. I remember I told my brother when we were in school, if a brother was sagging, it was because somebody had given him some hand-me-down clothes or something, and maybe the pants were just a little too big, and he didn't need to go home that evening after school and put an extra hole in the belt. But he wasn't sagging on purpose.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, and when that style came out, brother still wasn't sagging in the sense of what we're seeing now. Because I agree. I tell my students there are like certain limits I have on different things in class.
Right.
I'm not going to stop you from coming in if you're showing like what you're talking about, that little top of your waistline with the Tommy or Gucci or whatever you got on there. But I also tell them though there's going to be some compromise. Once you get to the point where I wouldn't want my grandma to look at you, or I wouldn't want my daughter or my sister to be looking at you, then you can't come in here.
Well, let me ask you this question. What if your mama goes out and she decides that she wanna adopt this same concept and she's showing her underoos? You know what I'm saying?
I've never heard it broken down like that.
I'm just saying.
I think if they told a brother, look, this is what your mama gonna start doing if you continue, I think that might work. I'll be honest with you, I think there's only one other solution than the one you just gave, because I wouldn't want to see my mama. So I only want to see my mama like we walk in the house sometimes, like, Mom, come on, man. Yeah, come on, man. I ain't know you. Like my sister will tell you, like, I don't have to see anything.
Right.
Just the mere fact that I walked in, you know, you coming out, you got a towel and everything around you. That's still too close for comfort for me.
Right.
So when you just said that about your mama walking and she's sagging and everybody can see her, you know, underoos or whatever she's wearing, mama might even have some thongs on. I don't know what mama.
Mama might.
Mama might. Hey, boys, we might really be shouting, Mama, come on, man, you can't be in these places like that. But here's what I said though, Jen. I think I know you might agree with this. I am convinced, and I don't have any scientific data to support this, or no empirical data.
Right.
But I'm convinced that women, more especially young women, since it's more of a problem with younger men, if they decided that they're gonna toe the line, they're gonna just say like for the next 2 weeks to a month, any young Negro who approaches me sagging gets absolutely no play. I told the kids at my school, we could change the whole makeup of the school in 2 weeks if girls just decided that. And I'm not saying it's their obligation to do this.
Right.
But I'm just saying if girls told them that, I'm not even dating a Negro who's sagging.
Well, I mean, that goes back to part one. We got to get their minds together too. You know, I mean, I hate to keep reflecting back on my childhood, but when the Daisy Dukes came out, the shorts, you know, were all the way up beyond thigh level, which exposed your rear bottom. Those type of fashions have come back. And even plus size women, I'm a plus size woman, you know, let's know your limitations. Let's know what is presentable. Back to what is your motive for what you're trying to show. The tights, you know, if you know that you're voluptuous, let's cover up. You know, let's give something left for the imagination, and let's do ourselves. Let's stop doing ourselves an injustice by just putting it out there on Front Street, like, you know, here it is. You know, here it is.
You know something I keep thinking about though is that verse, the Bible verse you read. That verse, if I can just get it one more time, if I can just get that the simple, you can give me the simple one.
I can do that.
Yeah, just the one that the kids will be able to understand, because that's going to take me to my next book.
But God told Samuel, looks aren't everything. Don't be impressed with his looks and stature. I've already eliminated him. God judges persons differently than humans do. Men and women look at the face, God looks into the heart.
So with that right there, one of my Let Us Make Man brothers, Miley Davis, he actually drafted this book right here. This is Miley, and you know, we're out here, we're marching right past Morris Brown. If you notice this right here, we're marching right past Morris Brown.
Morris Brown in
Yeah,
house.
Morris Brown up in this thing right here. This photo was taken right there. You know, the brother who took the picture shot it from the bridge. You know that bridge that goes across?
Course,
He shot this photo right there. And the book is entitled "We Need You." And with this right here, what I want to say, because sometimes I think when we're having these discussions, you know, it's like a them versus us.
Right.
But what I want to make sure we leave this platform with today is that, hey, if God is not judging you from your outside, he's judging your heart, then maybe God has actually called on us, you know, like this generation, to actually encourage our son's generation. And how do we encourage them? By first not judging them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I had earrings back in the day, still you see my holes right now. I had earrings in
know.
both ears. Boy, I remember my mom like, hold on, what is that? When I got my first little earring, then I messed around and got one in the second ear. Oh, she thought I had plumb lost my mind. Now that might seem like something small to people today. But you remember, Jen, back then, man, young mama didn't want to talk about no wearing no earring in their house.
Oh, no.
So now when I think about that, then we went to doing some other things that, you know, is not church friendly, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, we were in them streets doing a lot of stuff that my mama didn't know about. So that kind of helped, that kind of takes me to this point right here, Jen. When we start talking about sagging and whatnot, what about the young brother, you know, like in the area where I teach, whose mama is a J or something like that. And this brother right here, nobody knows that they've been homeless for the last 2 semesters. And during COVID, this when it all came full circle.
Right.
They find out that this boy right here, because he messed around and he started this video accidentally. And you saw like those little children in the background that he was feeding. And then all of a sudden, you went from, that boy, quit wearing them big old pants up here, to realizing that the reason that boy's wearing these big old pants right here, because they're staying in a homeless shelter. He's taking care of 3 or 4 other little children, but he's still finding a way to get his education. And if I told everybody to close their eyes when I was saying that, you could envision that little boy with those 2 big pants on. Because he doesn't even know where he's going to get his next meal, because he used to eat 2 times at school every day.
Right.
Now he's in a system that could take his little brothers and sisters away from him, so his big pants is the last of his concern. But all we know is, look at them boys right there, all that sagging and going on. That brother don't even want to be sagged.
Right.
That's all he got to his name right there. So I think we, as a generation ahead of them, you know, where this got started, like you said, I think we got to go back, man, and just start deconstructing once again. Like, where did this get started? Let's get rid of the myths and what we think we heard about prison and sagging stand for, you know, the N-word spelled backwards and all this stuff like that. Okay, we got all that. We got all the cliches out there. Let's talk to young brothers and ask them, like, man, why do you wear your pants all the way off your butt?
Right.
I mean, we just want to know. We're not judging. We just want to get some answers, man. So when you walk in your mama's house, do you realize that you are, in her mind, exemplifying like the highest level of respect? Because you wouldn't want her to walk in front, use your example, you wouldn't want her to walk into a room with all your homeboys showing all her butt.
Right.
So why would you walk into a household where her friends are and show all your butt?
But you know, I really had thought about doing just a poll, but then I was like, I don't know how well it would have been received from me. You know, approaching, like going downtown and just kind of like randomly asking, because I am curious a lot of times, even like young men in my family, you know.
Are they on Instagram?
They on everything.
That's what I'm saying. So a lot of times I think we got to start utilizing those resources we got. If I wanted to ask that same question to the young people I work with, all I would do is just do a simple Instagram poll. I might just add 2 questions. Bro, do you think sagging is lame, or do you think sagging is swagging? Hey, sagging is swagging. You know, so right there, all I'm doing is just calculating data right here. See, that's not as intimidating as me saying, hey, come here, I need to talk to you, nephew.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, once you say it like that, that's kind of like with women, you know.
That's how we do.
You
We
know,
want to know.
now why this? Even I'm a grown man, and with women, if I ever come up in a room with a woman, and it could be either one of y'all two, just say, "Hey, Walt, check this out, man. We need to talk." See, at that point, I've already made up a million different things that could be wrong in my head. And
You
so,
don't even want to hear.
I don't even want to hear it. So when you say we need to talk, and then you start saying, "Why do you sad?" It's just like you just hitting him with all kind of gut punches or whatnot. You get what I'm saying? So I will make a promise, because Jen and I have been trying to get together and do this for a long time.
Right.
And this is just the first step. I think this is a baby step into what we really want to do. And I wish I could see those comments over there. I had my phone, but for some reason in Thomaston, my phone service does not work. I don't know, Jen. It's like as soon as I hit Thomaston, my phone stopped working. But this is what I want to say. I think we got more work to do. Somebody sent me as soon as I showed my, I shared your post about this event. Somebody came in my inbox and they said, "Bruh, we need you to come back down here and work with the young men." And I know it's a brother who I know who out there in them streets. So this is what I'm saying about the poll or whatnot, Jen. There are a lot of brothers who want to answer that question. They just want to answer it in a way where they're going to be respected and not judged.
Let me tell you, that leads into my next scripture that I kind of picked from the book that you were a part in, and basically you were saying that your ancestors or your parents would tell you that, you know, ask and it shall be given, knock and the door will be open to you. But if you back up just a little bit in this particular scripture, we're looking at Matthew, the 7th chapter, and I didn't give this one to Brittany, but from the Message Bible, Matthew, the 7th chapter, the 1st through the 12th verse, it says, don't pick on people, jump on their failures, criticize their faults, unless, of course, you want the same treatment. That critical spirit has a way of boomeranging. It's easy to see a smudge on your neighbor's face and be oblivious to the ugly sneer on your own. Do not have the nerve to say, let me wash your face for you, when your own face is distorted by contempt. It's this whole traveling road show mentality all over again. Playing a holier than thou, and that's some of the things that people have problems with when it comes to quote-unquote church folks. Playing a holier than thou part instead of just living your part. Wipe that ugly sneer off your own face. This scripture now, you might be fit to offer a washcloth to your neighbor. Don't flip with the sacred. Banter and silliness go no honor to God. Don't reduce holy mysteries to slogans. In trying to be relevant, you're only being cute and inviting sacrilege. Don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This isn't a cat and mouse hide and seek game we're in. If your child asks for bread, do not trick him with sawdust. If he asks for fish, do not scare him with a live snake on his plate. As bad as you are, you wouldn't think of such a thing. You're at least decent to your own children. So don't you think the God who conceived you in love will be even better? Here is a simple rule of thumb. The rule of thumb. Ask yourself what you want people to do. Do unto others. You know that one?
Oh, I know
then
that one.
grab the initiative and do it for them. Add up God's law and the prophets, and this is what you get. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you.
Oh, that's one of the good ones right there. That's a classic.
I got that from this.
And you know, here's the crazy thing. The chapter that I just marked right here, chapter 12, is called Hanging On Past Excuses. That the acronym, it forms the acrostic for hope. Hanging on past excuses. I think a lot of young folks are just waiting on us right now. You know, like, hey, I've been making excuses long enough.
Right.
You know, I made excuses for why I sag. I made excuses for why I stopped going to school. I made excuses for why I just stand out on the block and smoke all day, every day. But then I have a fiction book that I'm working on, Jen, called A Walking Contradiction.
Oh, wow.
And I'm talking about me, Mr. Walking with Walking,
Walking
Mr. Awaken the Genius.
The
But
one
my
and
fiction
only.
book is going to be called A Walking Contradiction. I'm talking about a walking contradiction, y'all. We're walking with walk, but there are a lot of us who are mere walking contradictions, but we can quote scriptures.
Right.
So we throw the shade at the young people sagging so that we can be hidden away but we can't hide from God.
We can't.
So when you start talking about that, it just reminded me of a song that I remember at my grandma's liquor house, and I don't know if I can say liquor house, but that's what
You
it
can
was.
say look house.
Shot house and all that stuff. I remember, I don't want to call everybody's name, but I know Pilot Drake and all that. But these folks going on over yonder. They going over yonder with my grandma. But I just remember that old song, Jen, that said, I'm just a nobody. Trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. So why is it that somebody can save anybody, but me, just a nobody, I got so much judgment and contempt, and I'm ready just to bring out so much vitriol on the young folks, and I'm just a few days past my addictions. And I just want to say shout out to myself. 2 years and 7 months without drinking alcohol.
Amen.
And I'm saying that because I know when you grow up around alcohol and you grow up around that, you don't even know when you started drinking, why you started drinking. You just know it's a regular part. So some of these kids don't know when they started sagging, why they started sagging. But your two scriptures tonight, I think I'm going to go back and just, devour those scriptures.
Okay.
Because I think I got an obligation too, as a walking contradiction, to go into school tomorrow in Atlanta Public Schools and look at my students through a different lens. Even though I don't judge, I still think these two scriptures gave me a different perspective.
Wow.
And I think it gave me the wherewithal to invite some young men, you know, in, and maybe we have them on a panel or something.
That
Once
would
we
be
do these
awesome.
things and let them talk. So maybe we got Atlanta, we got Thomaston, and we just got young men talking to each other.
Man, that's why, that was one of the main purposes of creating this show, is through our youth ministry. We just want to be open, frank, just tell people what's up. I mean, we can bring the scripture in, but we want to keep it relevant to what's actually going on with our young people, so that we can be that mentor that takes them to a whole nother level, not just judge them because we have our own skeletons in our closet. You know, I was one of the ones that wore them days dues, you know, so, you know, like he said, you know, we have things that we have overcome, but look at us now, you know, and that was because basically we come from a foundation. We didn't come from on the hills or out behind the hospital, we used to call it. We came from a humble beginnings. He and I both were from Lincoln Park, downtown. You know, when I grew up, we didn't have running hot water. We had to boil water on the stove. And come on now, I'm way older than you.
I'm trying to take up
I'm
Mr. Star
older than you, Canaan. Don't make me
Hey,
tell
up
my
in Star
age.
Swell, boy, I know you had to use that bathroom. You got to put a coat on in the winter time to go out there. And we had to have bathroom floor plan before it was in vogue. You know, like folks say now, we got 2.5. No, we just got half.
Let me tell you, my brothers would go to the Collins grocery store. I know many of y'all
Cross the railroad track.
Cross the railroad track. After they be done got their deliveries in and get them big boxes where they have gotten their deliveries, then what we used to keep our clothes in. Hang clothes on the nail, on the door. Take baths in front of the heater in the foot tub.
Oh, number 13. Yes, we are out here talking about growing up time, y'all. Downtown.
They wouldn't believe.
And then what about when you had to stand in front of that oven in the morning? That was your central heat.
Let me tell you.
Until your pant leg got stuck on your leg. Then you knew it was time for another child to get there.
Well, that was for you. The girls had either the skirts or shorts on, so I used to have little red balls where if you done burnt the back of my leg.
But you can't tell folks these days. I tell my students in Atlanta a lot of times, y'all, I say, oh, you think those are the projects that you live in? Negro, you got a shower. You got central heating air. Y'all even got the little thing on the door that you can ring like a little doorbell or whatnot. We thought we had made it. When we moved to the hill, we were like the happiest Negroes in America. We just like, Jay, you got your own bedroom now. You know, I didn't get my own bedroom until I was a junior in college.
Yeah.
Some kids just take this stuff for granted now.
All the sisters slept in the bed. All the brothers slept on the let-out sofa, just like they used to do on good times. And we used to get.
So y'all had enough money to get one of them let-out sofas?
We had a let-out sofa. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always, what?
That's when Daddy started driving for the meat truck.
Oh, y'all. Jen Rogers was stunning on me. I didn't even know anybody downtown had one of them let out
We
sofas.
had a let out sofa. My brother slept on the pull-out bed.
Boy, I would have wanted to sleep on that sofa. You know, back then, that just seemed like, hey, I'm gonna sleep on it. And then I messed around, Jen, and got, when I went to Alabama State, I messed around and got me a king-size water bed.
What you say?
Didn't know what I was doing. My back was hurting every day, but it just, because it was my own room. Jen, it was my first time ever having my own room. I was a junior in college. So I'm saying to all the young brothers out there right now, if your mom is buying you pants that fit, matter of fact, if she's even giving you the money to buy pants, my mom will tell you, that's one thing, Jen, I've been working since I was like that. You remember we used to have the little CETA program? I started working the CETA program, worked at Dairy Queen, worked at Domino's. All my cats in the hood know when I delivered for Domino's.
Right.
Bought my own car, worked at Federal Paperboard. That's when I knew I had to get a degree. When I worked at Federal Paperboard, and I bought that 69 Impala from Mr. Oscar Ross. I still got it now. 27 years.
Wow.
And that man said the only reason he's selling me that car, he said, because I can tell you're a young man who's going to take care of my car like I did. And you're a hard-working young man. And I think that goes to these young brothers out here. We love y'all, man. But we're talking about perception. If that man had seen me sagging, I just like to think, you know, as he rests in the heavens or whatnot, I would just like to think that he probably would not have sold me his trusted 69 Impala.
Right.
If I'm making sense here.
Yeah, you're making
but I
a lot
say
of
that
sense.
because I want to challenge the young brothers who are listening, man. Like, reach out. I mean, you can hit me up on Instagram. You can hit Jen up on Instagram. And let's know this right here, y'all. I'm all the way T-time, 30, 28, 6, all day, every day. So when y'all see me on social media traveling all over the world and doing the things that I've done in Bermuda and Detroit and California and Mississippi, Jen, I'm just a country boy. And everybody who's ever heard me speak will say when that brother comes out, he shouts out his hometown. He shouts out
I still
all
live
that.
here and commute to Atlanta every day, have been since 2000. So I love my
I'm telling you,
hometown.
and let me say to you too, while everybody's listening, thank you for this invitation because I have been going. You know I've been going.
Yeah, and I appreciate you driving down.
Yes, I was about to say, like, honestly, the last time I drove somewhere for somebody where I had to leave out of school and come to a place, but I know I would be pushing it, I drove to Augusta, and I did that one time for somebody, you know, like, on the strength. And Jen, what changed it, and I say to all my people out there who are trying to move to that next level, whether it be speaking or something, because somebody just called me, I think they were from here as a matter of fact. No, it was somebody on the road and they want me to work with. No, it is. It's somebody from here want me to talk to their son about speaking.
Okay.
And I remember this, Jen, I know we gotta wrap it up, but I remember I drove down to Augusta, straight out of school like I did today. And when I walked in there, y'all, I want y'all to just hear this. This sister did not say, hey, how was the traffic? Thank you for, you know, like being willing to do this. She just said, we usually don't like for people to be late when they come to speak at our church. And it was a church. I gotta say this because it was a church.
Okay.
Oh man, Jen, I could have gotten back in my car and driven. I mean, I was so defeated, but just so happened a sister like you just saw it. And she just said, are you Mr. Walker? And I said, well, I'm about to be Mr. Gone, but yes, I'm Mr. Walker. She said, brother, don't. And I mean, I lit that place up. And when I got through, God was just right in the middle of it.
Right.
And God delivered some woman from Joseph High School in Augusta.
Wow.
And that lady asked me what I charged, and I'm saying this because I just want y'all to know this perception piece. That lady perceived something because I came in late. She never actually took the time out, just like we don't do when we're looking at these young kings out here. We see sagging pants, and we just assume that this young brother's up to no good.
Right.
We don't assume that he's like the young brother I said on the camera during COVID who was doing this thing. And I know there's a story that, you know, I wish I could wrap up with it in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I remember Stephen Covey talking about being on a train and this man, kids were just running around being bad and everybody, you know, the abbreviated version, just looking like, oh, he'd say something to those kids. And then finally when somebody said, can you make those kids sit down? He said, well, their mom just passed away. And I've been sitting here trying to process how I want to tell them that their mom just died.
Right.
And at that moment, everybody began to empathize. And they saw, hey, is there anything we can do? And that's what we gotta do, y'all. A lot of these young brothers, we gotta stop and slow it down in order to speed it back up. We gotta stop and just find out why are these young brothers like that. So that lady who saw me, she stopped. Y'all see, I was just a nobody down in Augusta trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody.
Right.
And look at what came out of that, though, Jen. When that lady from Joseph saw me, I lit that thing up so bad, they invited me to come back. And the next time I drove out of that high school, straight out the door, they had a check for $3,000.
Wow.
See, sometimes you got to do something free, y'all. That's what we mean when we say slow it down. Everybody want to get something for nothing. And I tell the young brothers and sisters who are trying to speak, like, I'm a 25-year overnight success. See, you starting to see me now on social media. You don't know how many times I've traveled and spoken for free.
Right.
And I promise you, anytime you call me, I'm going to be available.
Thank you.
And I want to say to the Stonewell
means a
family, man, Jen, y'all, I like the way y'all rock Stonewell, man. I love, like, your minister. I love, like, the first lady. I love y'all family.
Thank
and when I see y'all, it's like this unity that's been missing from the church for a while.
Thank you.
And there's no slight to anybody else. I'm not naming all the churches in Thompson. I'm just telling you what I see. So thank you so very much, man, for staying on me about getting here. So
I had
that.
to. I mean, you know, we've known each other since childhood, and I know the passion that you have inside of you when it comes to your community, when it comes to young brothers. You know, a lot of it can be perceived in the wrong manner, because you are intense, and anything that you care something about, you're gonna be compassionate, and it's gonna come across in such a manner, because anything that you love, you're gonna fight for and you're gonna protect it. So, I mean, everything that God has poured into you, I pray that you continue to just let it overflow, because what it is that you are doing is necessary and is needed. And a lot of men don't have the capacity to do what you're doing, because one thing, just like you said in your book, they got to trust us.
Yes.
And they trust you. I know that they do.
Can I just show you how relevant this is? And I know this podcast is getting ready to go through the roof. Let me tell you why I know it's going to go through the roof. One of the things I always say to Alex, who's my co-host on my podcast, we got to do the work. You got to do the research. You got to do the background. We're not just on here. People who are sitting out there watching us, they think we just be up here talking.
Right.
I'm like, no, Jen, I can tell because she keeps citing from the text. See, that means you've done your due diligence on me. Even though you grew up knowing me, when you keep referencing that right there. Now watch this right here. I'm working on a line of shirts, and that shirt line is called 8. Because a lot of times we knew we grew up and we had not eaten anything.
Right.
So, you know, people say, well, you know, did you eat something? You know, and so I started thinking about no matter how you do those letters, E-A-T, A, you know, T-E, it's like you're talking about eating. And it just takes me back to being a country boy. So this is what it stands for, since you just referenced that. Awaken the Genius, the shirt you have there.
Right.
The next shirt is going to be Trust the Genius. And then the last shirt is going to be Execute the Genius.
Right.
See, so once we get it in our wheelhouse, well, we have the capacity to awaken the genius in all those young brothers and parents who are watching right now, because a young man might be on the block right now sagging because he hadn't had anybody to awaken his genius. But then now, once we get it awakened, where did he go now? Right. Okay, I heard what Mr. Walker said on the podcast. He don't live down here. Okay, Negro, call my bluff.
Right.
If you bought that life and you want me to get involved, I'm saying to any parent out there, but I don't have time to waste. That's why I don't come home a lot of times.
Right.
It has nothing to do with anything other than a group of people saying, come down here. So now I can trust that you guys are going to have the genius.
But there's more scripture, and I'm not just trying to quote,
yes.
But a prophet means more elsewhere that he do in his own town.
Yes.
Because you know why? They're judging you from
yes.
your past.
Yes,
and you can't get beyond that. So a lot of times hometown miss out on people who have really grown and maneuvered themselves and gone off into a direction where they could come back and bring something to stir up the gifts here in the community, because they simply won't let you allow your past to leave you. And that's unfair.
Can I say this right here to everyone who might even be judgmental towards people like myself who've left home, and I'm saying that in the most positive way. I'm not saying you sitting back, judge, but you judge somebody who left Thompson, because I've been that person before. Man, these Negroes act like they can't come back to T-Town. See, that's when I was stuck. You know what I mean? And when I say stuck, I don't mean stuck here. I just mean stuck in my mindset.
Right.
And then when I start reading, that's why I try to devour everything I can read, because once you start reading, you start having what they call a paradigm shift. And once your paradigm shift, it's kind of like somebody said recently at a conference I was at, they say success loves speed. See, I can't do what I want to do here yet because I got to be exponentially moving.
Right.
And once I can get enough leverage behind me where, you know, I can bring somebody back here, and maybe I don't have to be a part of it, just say, I'm going to let my homeboy come down here and speak, because trust me, I roll with some millionaires in the city.
Oh, you have
And
to.
you know that right there. But it's like, even if I brought them back to my hometown right now, we're not ready. So let's start with baby steps like what you and I are doing right now. Because somebody just told me last week, and they said even Jesus was not accepted at home.
Was not.
So if they didn't accept Jesus at home, what makes you think I will be here? So that's why I love this coalition that we're forming right here where, hey, I don't necessarily have to be at home to communicate with people at home. So this right here is one little piece that we can do, and this piece can get shared and shared and shared and shared up the road, down here at home, and then we can just keep pushing south. So
that's why Jesus had his disciples.
look out now.
You understand? He could not do the work by himself. He was just the vessel that poured into those 12.
Yes.
Even it was more than that, because he started out with close to 72 to 100, and those that were not in line with what he was teaching.
Now you teaching what really happened. Y'all don't see this right here. See, now she's teaching what really happened. You can't play around with that Bible. You gotta,
know.
That's the question behind the question. You know, like a lot of times people ask me, like, so why do you always say that Jesus was, I won't go into it on here, but it's about like, why you make a big issue about his color or whatnot? I said, because some of the places Jesus was going to, that kind of like Bethel Street back in the day when JB was down there. You had that little pathway right between the cut before you go down to Handemar and all that, right behind Charles Williams, gas. I'm trying to. I know we ain't got no more time, but I just want to say, man.
In the alley.
I'm telling you, man. In the little yellow apartments right down there in the cut where Adrian Holland them live. Y'all know down in that cut back there, man. And Miss Nana down there, you just down there with Miss Nancy C.
God, Reverend Nana.
I'm trying to tell you.
Your barbecue sandwich with
Lord,
the skins in the middle
what you know about
and
that?
a jungle point.
See the jungle. And you gotta go into the playground and pop the carton when you get through drinking the frozen jungle. You gotta pop
who
the
gonna
carton.
pop the ladder with it?
There it is, y'all. Hey, man, this has been so fun. And I hope everybody from Thomaston know, man, like, this is what you get. This is your boy. I am a native son. Right. I am ready. I'm willing. I'm able to work with any young brother who's about that life, but I don't have time to play around. It has to be a group, and I don't care how big the group is. If you're serious about that life, man, we can meet. We'll meet at my mama's house. I mean, just keeping it 100. We can meet at my mama's house and we can mastermind.
If one get lost, and you help that one in the midst of the 100,
yes,
you have accomplished your goal, and God is pleased with that.
Well, can I give them my hashtag in case they
Let me tell you, we got to wrap this thing up, so we're going to let him give his final words, and then I'll come back with you with my WCW worship can't wait. So Brittany, go ahead and cue me up, and we're going to let Mr. Awakening the Genius, Mr. Keenan Walker, say his last say.
Well, look, y'all, if y'all did not notice, what I do anytime I come out to speak, I have these 7 secrets to inspiring and empowering black boys. And I literally work my way here. This is the 8 habits, excuses, which there are no excuses even when things fall apart. Connect, that's what we talk about, the hip hop generation. Asking the right questions, relating, expectations, and success. I didn't get to these right here. So what I want to tell you guys is that, man, it's a simple formula. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'm here. I'm readily available. You can follow me at Mr. Awaken the Genius. That's Mr. MRAWAKENTHEGENIUS. Mr. Awaken the Genius and Keenan Walker on Facebook, and we gotta bring you on the podcast, Walking with Walt podcast. I want you to come from behind the camera because I want them to see how hard she's working out. So, but I won't say anything else. Right, I just want to say thank you to Stonewell family once again. Thank you to everybody who joined us today, man, because we are not anything without you guys supporting us. So thank you again, and I'm looking forward to working with my hometown.
Hey, what's up? You're here with What's Up Wednesdays at the Well. And we want you all to understand that this is something that we do because we are compassionate about it. We love our young people, our young women, our young men, and it is our responsibility to take you to that next level. Even when people look at you and they judge you, it's about what God thinks about you. The song simply says that he saw the best in me. Even when everyone else around saw the worst in me. We're not going to tell you that people are not going to judge you, but you got to learn how to rise above that. And the only way that you can do that is to have some self-confidence in yourself. A lot of times that is displayed by the first way that you present yourself. It may come in your dress. It may come in just simply greeting somebody with a smile. But it can make all the difference in the world of taking you to that very next level. How can you get closer to God? We want to invite you, if you have lost the will and you want to reconnect, hit hashtag reconnect. We are here to do just the duty of putting you back in line, to get you in the word, to kind of guide you. Because it says that if you seek God first and lean not to your own understanding, He will direct your path. Even if you don't know who God is and you want an opportunity to become saved, you know, we all have demons that we have battled with. We all have habits, you know, like he said, he overcame his drinking. You know, we all have things that we have to deal with. None of us are perfect. If you want to become saved, hit hashtag saved. Here at Stonewell, you know, I love the fact that our pastor is an open book. He tells you that he is an imperfect pastor serving an imperfect church trying to reach a perfect God. You know what I'm saying? So in order to do that, and you want to become a part of this ministry, just hit hashtag disciple. I can't take you in, but I would love to introduce you to Pastor Coleman Dumas III and allow you the opportunity to just sit down and talk with him. He's not going to judge you from whence you have come, what you're going through. We're just trying to get you on that next level. He always says, I can't put you into heaven, but I can put you closer to the gate so that you can get the understanding of who God is and allow Him the opportunity to say, servant well done. Lastly, even if you're a part of a ministry already, they haven't gone back in, you know, our COVID numbers are going back up. We here at Stonewell, we are on the pavement. We are pounding, not just inside the church, but outside the church as well. We have a ministry called Watch Care. You don't have to leave your home church, but if you want to come here, have church, serve, you know, just be in the midst of what we got going on here. We have a Watch Care. Just hit hashtag Watch Care. We want you to come, bring your young people. Come with your young people. Don't just send them, come with them. We are open to serve you. And we will be back here again next week with What's Up Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Keenan Walker, for driving down from your busy day. And we just want to bless him and send him back with safe travels. And thank you again. This is What's Up Wednesdays at the Well. It's the Stonewell thing, Stonewell Nation, Stonewell Network. But most of all, it's all about God. Thank you.